Hi guys, this is Howard from AVtransfers. Welcome to the channel. Long time no see. We're back into the autumn season and things normally get a bit busier now. And today we're going to be just taking a break from things and looking at a Sony Scan Converter. I've got a number of these in the office. People seem to have mixed feelings about them, but I do like what they do to some video sources, and this one in particular is interesting because it has an output that the other ones don't have. It's basically a 1024 DSC model, and well, let's just take a look and see. So this came up on an auction in Japan. I've discovered that these machines have 4-field interpolating, so it often makes noisy video look very smooth, which is really nice. It's not really a time-based corrector, and it's not really a standards converter, but it can do both to an extent. But it does smooth the picture over beautifully and change NTSC to PAL and to all different VGA resolutions, and of course this one does 1080i as well. So when I got it, I tested it, and yes, it's multi-voltage and it does work, but it had a problem which I was aware of from the auction site. This cable that goes between the face and the machine was broken. So none of these controls were working on this side. So I've just replaced the cable. I got the cables from China, and I'll just show you the old cable that was in the machine, and it was all crumpled up. So obviously it just failed. But I'll just show you what's on the back of this machine. So Japan introduced HD a lot earlier than other countries, because they are Japan, right? So this is a bit different to the other ones. It has the composite input on input 1. It has the VGA on input 2, where the other ones have normally composite video. But it is able to accept component through that switch, so you could have component through there, which is quite nice. And then the video 3 in is RGB or progressive, so it has a couple of options. And then for output it has a standard analog VGA. So I'm just going to fiddle with it and see if it works now. That's the main thing. I plugged it into this monitor, and of course I had two things in my hand, and of course I dropped the monitor on the floor, but thankfully I didn't break it. The little handle here broke its fall. I still feel like an idiot for dropping it. I dropped it about a meter off the ground. It kind of dinged it a little bit. But the good news is these buttons were all not working because of that ribbon cable being damaged. And it's a common fault. All of these machines have, you can see there's another one there in the background. All of these machines have that problem. These used to be rented out a lot, and that little ribbon cable fails. You've got to take this front panel apart, this little thin panel where all the buttons are, and you've got to get into there to replace that ribbon cable. But the parts are not expensive. It's just the patience, and that's important. Let me just put test pattern on, and you can just see what test patterns this machine generates. So it's got a crosshatch, even tells you very nicely, a box, color bars, and grayscale, and then it's back to the signal. So yeah, these buttons are quite key. So there's menu, and then that you'll see here, menu, load, geometry, color. You can zoom in frames and things like that, which is really nice. And the most important thing, which the other ones don't have, it's also got a gen lock, which has its uses, but this is what I wanted to see. It'll output 1080i at 59.94 frames. And that's, I think that was the only iteration available at the time of it. But that means that you can get HD out of that facility, out of that machine. So you would just go here and you would change your output to the 1080i. And once you hit 1080i, you lose the sync. The picture goes off here. So obviously it's purely creating a 1080i signal. So I need to get a VGA or a HD decoder in there just to see what that looks like. So this is kind of what I want. I'm just not sure. I think this is an HDMI 2 component. That would make sense, right? What I want this is in reverse. I want a component to HDMI. So that's where the hunt will continue. Oh wait, no, this is correct. I'm sorry. This is correct. This is exactly what I want. Sorry. So this is a component. I want those three to HDMI, and potentially that would actually do the correct conversion that I need. Okay, well, buying a million wrong spares on eBay obviously has its pluses, because here is exactly what I want. VGA to component. Okay, so I've plugged that in there, and I've just got to find a 5-volt supply for that. Hey guys, so I got this converter now installed and set up here in the office, and I'm just using it as a go-between one of my telecine machines and a DVD recorder for standard definition. It's quite nice just to fiddle with the picture as it comes through. And I wanted to test the upscaler, in particular 1080i. So I bought one of these little converter boxes which converts VGA to HDMI, thinking, oh, that's the answer. And I've been scratching my head for a while. I've just got it here powered off a little battery bank, and the VGA comes in from the Sony, and it goes out via HDMI to one of my spare monitors that I've got here on the floor. The converter, this converter, will only accept VGA modes from 31.5 up to 64K. When I go to 1080i, it just says no signal. So I think what's happening is the 1080i over VGA is not a standard signal that it's prepared to convert. So it's back to the drawing board with that one. I have no doubt that 1080i is coming out of this in analog VGA, and I might get a VGA cable just to confirm that. As for using it to upconvert stuff, it's not looking too favorable at the moment. But it is working. That is the display from this machine. If I hit menu, you'll see the menu. So it is all working, and it does give me 1080i at, 60 frames per second, or 59.94. If it was progressive, it might be different, but it was obviously designed for interlaced displays, like a CRT display, I guess. So I'm still scratching my head, not quite given up on that, but yeah. And finally, we got it working. 1080i output, and there it is displaying on there. So that is due to the fact that I'm running VGA cable straight into there, and it seems to work. So I think the only other way I could get HDMI at 1080i would be to run VGA cable to component, which is the 3 analog signals, and take that into an HDMI converter that's expecting 1080i analog to make it into digital. But this will certainly allow me to test what this unit can produce. That's a 4x3 signal going in, and it's coming out as 1080i. So that's correct. So now I'm curious to know if the centering will push it all the way over. Yes, it does. Oh wow. Okay, let me get the on-screen display so you can center the picture up and down. That's just a blank signal coming in, which is fine. And then if I zoom in, I can basically zoom the picture and make it fit correctly on a widescreen TV. So that's good, and it's actually showing you the aspect ratio as it goes through. Very interesting. Okay, so normally 50 is sort of 1:1. So if it's at 50, it means it's going to be correct. But that's great. So now we know it will output 1080i. So if I want to make that into digital, I'm going to need to get an HDMI from component converter. I thought that the VGA little box that I bought would have done it, but no. So this requires something slightly different, but for the amount I'm going to be using it, that's fine for now. We know it all works, and that's the main thing. Well, I can confirm that adapter, when powered up and fed into the Blackmagic capture box, did also not produce a picture. I don't know if it's a handshaking issue. I don't think so, though. There must be something about the signal that the converter to HDMI doesn't like. So I'll probably table it there for now. It's been an interesting learning curve, and I hope that you've enjoyed me fiddling about, as I always do. This is Howard from AVtransfers Co. UK saying bye for now, and if you like these kind of things, consider subscribing and we'll produce more as time goes by. Bye for now.